Hello, everyone. This is Randy Nunez, your host on Between the Chalk Lines podcast every week, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Drops on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. And there are articles on the website for betweenthe.chalklines.com. They come out every so often. And you can also listen to the episodes, all the episodes that have come out so far. I think there's 35 or so are on there. And all the episodes that will come out in the future. If you don't subscribe to here, please take a listen on the podcast player there, betweenthe.chalklines.com. Again, your host, Randy Nunez. We're going to talk a little bit of a few different things here. Some trade talks and trade rumors that are coming up or heating up on the mill, you should say, as well as your standings going into Friday, the 6th June 2024. So going into today, standings looks like this. In AL East, the New York Yankees have the most wins in all of baseball with 45 and a record of 45-19 to be exact. That is a 703 winning percentage. They're winning more than 70% of their games. Scored over 320 runs, only allowed just over 200 runs. So their pitching is doing fantastic. Their offense is doing amazing. And just to add a cherry on top of it all, they're facing the second best team in the National League in the Dodgers starting today, Friday. So today's game is on Apple TV exclusively. If you don't have Apple TV, then kind of out of luck there. Um, you can probably listen to it on your local radio broadcast. If you have that, if you want to just listen to the radio broadcast, you can do that for the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles Dodgers. Um, Speaking of that, they did go in, the Yankees, today with Juan Soto, who they traded for earlier this season, um, had a left forearm strain, not in the lineup. So one of their bigger bats, one of their more expensive bats in the future when he hits free agency this offseason. He's gonna be a really expensive guy because he's only 25 years old and he's doing fantastic. He's putting up really big numbers. I wouldn't say quite Hall of Fame numbers yet. Again, 25 years old, very young. But against a team like the Dodgers, you really need all your big guns, and they're missing one of the big guns in Soto. So, Yankees in the East, first place, followed by Orioles, Red Sox, Rays, finally Toronto Blue Jays, following up in a 30-32 record, losing record, the only losing record, mind you, in East. Um, Central, moving over to the AL Central, Cleveland Guardians still leading the pack, 40-21, with the Royals still hot on their tail, 37-26, followed by the Minnesota Twins, 33-29. Tigers, 500 team at 31-31, so not totally out of it, but they are losing steam. White Sox have been out of the playoff race for quite a while. They are following up the AL Central Division in the basement at 15-8. We'll talk about them a little bit more later on. AL West, you have the Seattle Mariners at 36-28, the best team in the West, followed by Texas Rangers at 30-32. And all these teams that are after the Mariners are all on losing records. Houston Astros 28-35. There was a little bit of time they kind of had a streak going. Thought the Astros might be coming back. and would take first place, but 7 games behind 500. So it's kind of hard to put them in that category of possibly being playoff contender right now. And then you have the Oakland A's, who are at 25-39, and the Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, dead last at 24-38. We'll talk about them again as well. NL East Division, first National League team, Philadelphia Phillies are the best National League team in all that league at 44-19, followed by the Atlanta Braves, who are doing very well for themselves at 35-25, followed by the Nationals at 27-35. It kind of drops off here. After the Braves, uh, everything kind of drops off. The Nationals 27-35, same record for the Mets at 27-35. And then finally, the Miami Marlins at 21-41. Talk about them also. National League Central Division is led by the Milwaukee Brewers. It has been for the last couple of weeks, probably last month. After them is all below 500 teams. Chicago Cubs, 31-32, only 1 game behind 500. Cincinnati Reds, 30-33, have kind of surged from where they were below before. They were a little bit lower. St. Louis Cardinals, 29-32. Pittsburgh Pirates, Bucks are 29-33. Dead last. National League West, where the LA Dodgers are tops in 39-25. San Diego Padres trailing 32-34. This is where everyone kind of falls below 500 again. They are 8 games behind the Dodgers at 32-34. The Giants and the Diamondbacks are tied at 30-33. Dead last, Rockies in the basement, 22-40. Team are struggling mightily. And then we're going to start looking at the wildcard standings. So in the American League, you have the Yankees, the Guardians, and the Mariners, who are all leading their divisions in East, Central, and West. Wild card at the top 3 teams are the Baltimore Orioles at the 39-22 record, Kansas City Royals, who are a surprise to me. Again, the season, if I were to say the Royals would be a contending team, possibly, that would be a surprise. At 37-26, and then the Minnesota Twins are barely holding on at 33-29, with the Red Sox at 32-31, just 1.5 games behind the Twins. It's a surmountable, gap that they can definitely get over. With the Tigers, who I want to talk about, they had the AL pitcher of the month in May. Probably could have the AL pitcher of the month in June as well, and Tariq Skubal. So Skubal has done a fantastic job over the last 20 to 25 starts. He's had a great ERA, good win-loss record. And to start the year, I thought he would take the March-April AL pitcher of the month. But he got that in May. So, Tigers are not out of it. They're only 2 games behind the Twins in the wild card. Moving on to the National League for wild card, you have the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers leading the East, West, Central. And then after that, it's obviously the Braves at 35-25, my favorite to win the World Series this year. Behind them are the Cubs and Padres, surprisingly, somewhat. I'll talk about the Padres also. And why the Padres, just half a game back, are actually four teams: Diamondbacks, Reds, Giants, and Cardinals, all just half a game back of the Padres. The Padres really need to step it up and start putting into second gear. And you could say the same thing for the Cubs. Cubs are only a game ahead of all those teams that I just named. So Braves have a nice, healthy 6 game lead ahead of everyone else. I think they're going to be fine as long as they find a good replacement for Ronald Acuna Jr. And I know that's really a tall order. It's the same thing as if you were trying to say the Angels need to find a replacement for Mike Trout, which they haven't. Mickey Moniak has not really stepped up. Joe Dell hasn't really stepped up. Aaron Hicks they let go, a month ago. Um, the only guy who's really stepped up for the Angels in the outfield um, is Taylor Ward, and we're going to talk about that team as well um, in our trade segment. So, talking about trades, guys that will be leaving teams. I want to talk about the Padres. The only reason the Padres are in that last spot for the wild card are Manny Machado, Luis Arias, Greg Cronenworth, and their pitching. Uh, their bullpen, especially, has done well. They've closed games out for them that are really close. And Luis Arias was hurt. He came over and trade from the Marlins for actually quite a deal, I would say. So, they were the first to make a big splash as far as needing pieces and making it work. Uh, Manny Machado had a flexor against strain against the Angels this past series. He is still working through that. He did have an at bat the other night, so the game after he had his injury. So we know he can hit, somewhat. It's just a matter of can he play the field uh, well and not hurt himself worse than he is already. Um, Moving on to the White Sox, I want to talk about Luis Robert Jr. Now, technically, his name is Luis Robert Jr. Legally, and Garrett Crochet, the team's opening day starter, who has done nothing but prove front office right. They should have had him as a starter and not in the bullpen probably the last year or so. Um, and now that they have Garrett Crochet out there doing what he's doing, throwing 100 miles an hour, uh, going 4, 5, 6 innings, he's not really stretched out like a lot of the other guys. Um, I know rumors are already swirling that both of those guys are getting calls. I know that the rumors are not secured, but the best word is partially um, confirmed that they are asking for a package on Luis Robert Jr., center fielder. Only problem I see with anyone trading for Luis Robert Jr. is that he gets hurt. He gets hurt a lot. He was just on the injured list recently, earlier this season. He's a great outfielder, don't get me wrong. I've seen him do amazing plays. I've also seen him make bad plays, but that's everyone, I guess. And then moving on, the subject of outfielders. Angels have a guy named Taylor Ward who was almost a Dodger a couple of years ago. Taylor Ward and Luis Rengifo, infielder, could play second base, first base, third base, shortstop if you need, and designated hitter as well. On top of the fact that he uh, used to be a switch hitter, I think we'll check that. But Luis Rengifo, Taylor Ward, probably the best uh, assets that the Angels have right now. Besides the fact that they also have Tyler Anderson, who was an all-star for the Dodgers. And yes, Luis Rengifo is a switch hitter. Sorry, I got that wrong at first. I thought he went main to right-handed hitting, but he is a switch hitter. So they have three guys that they could package for some big prospects. They go to New York or Philadelphia. Taylor Ward would be a fantastic guy because he knew Brandon Marsh in his rookie year, played with him. Same thing for Luis Rengifo and Tyler Anderson, guys that he's played with. So Brandon Marsh, who did get hurt and is replaced by Dahl at the moment in the field, currently could be reuniting with Taylor Ward possibly. And I know that the Phillies have some pitching depth that the Angels would love to get their hands on. And the Angels and Phillies have already made some trades. That's where they got Ohapi, who's now the Angels' everyday catcher and is looking like he could possibly be an all-star this year. The only other player on the Angels I would think would be worthy of representing the Angels in the All-Star game would be Tyler Anderson, but he might not be an Angel in July, so we'll see. Um, the other team that I want to talk about as far as trades is possibly the Padres need some help in the rotation. Definitely need a little bit of help there. Possibly again, Angels, Padres, American League, National League swap for Anderson, trying to help knock off the Dodgers somehow. The Dodgers have said that they're looking for outfield help. I don't know if they'll try and make that Ward deal happen again. Ward has proven himself to be defensively a great glove and a clutch hitter and power hitter as that well. I think he has over a dozen home runs right now. The moment of recording, and the Angels are playing tonight against Astros. Speaking of, so Astros, I don't think they'll be making any moves per se. Rangers, same thing. Actually, speaking of the Rangers, second place in the West, they are going to have Max Scherzer start his rehab assignment in AAA this week. So next week we could see Scherzer, Mad Max, throwing some pitches to some AAA guys, and I'll feel bad for them. But what I've heard about Mad Max is that he is a great teammate, and the very least he'll do for the club guys is treat them to an amazing dinner. I've heard that he'll even buy AirPods for guys, the whole club. So Mad Max, AAA affiliate for the Rangers, look out. You're gonna have a good time when he comes by, when he's in town. So have fun and make sure you pick his brain. He's an amazing mind. Pitchers are just cerebral in that manner. And I wanted to talk about something that I've been following as well is the college world baseball, not the Division One teams, but Division Three. You haven't heard the Panthers lost. They lost the first game, won the second game. lost their third game, eliminating them, unfortunately. So the Panthers no longer exist. Their school no longer exists, and hopefully, I will be having the head coach Weisberg on the podcast, talking with us and answering some questions about how his tenure was there at CBS. So, look out for that in the future. And I think we're gonna have a short episode today. So that's gonna be it, gal. Again, this is your host, Randy Nunez. Every week, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. You all know it. Between the chalk lines, all baseball talk, all the time. Catch you next time.